lesson is about applying the law of cosines to non-right triangles. The law of cosines are only used in two cases, and that's side, angle, side, right? That's when you have this case. You know, side, angle, side. And the other case is side, side, side. That's where all the sides match up. If you have those two scenarios, then you can apply the law of cosines. For example, find the length of side A. And in this case, we have a situation of side, angle, side. We're given two sides and an included angle, so we know we can use the law of cosine. And what you want to use is a definition. So what you get is A, this side, equals, and you're going to use this side here, 20 squared, plus the other side, 13 squared. Remember, this comes from the Pythagorean theorem. And then minus twice 20 times 13, but you're going to take the cosine of the included angle. So you're going to take cosine of 60. And what you're going to do is you're going to simplify this. Oh, sorry, this is a squared. So a squared, you know that 20 times 20 is 400. This is 169. Right? And then if you multiply 2 times 20, you get 40. 40 times 13 is going to give you 540. But the cosine of 60 is 1/2. So what you're going to do, you're going to divide this by 2. So what you're going to wind up with is a squared, when you simplify this, is a squared equals 829. And you're going to take the square root to both sides. A is going to be approximately 28.8, or you could say 29. All right, solve for x. This time, again, you have you have side, side, side. So we can also use the law of cosines. You want to figure out what the included angle is here. You don't know what that is. So again, you can set it up using the law of cosines. So you're trying to find this angle, so you have to take the opposite side. That's going to be 25. That's squared. And you can set that equal to 32 squared plus 37 squared minus 2 times the product of these two sides. Be 32 times 37. And you're going to take the cosine of x. All right, and once you simplify that, you should wind up with 0.7432. But remember, you got to take the inverse of this in order to get what x is. So you got to take the inverse of this to get the value, the inverse of this value here. And you can look it up on the chart or your calculators, and it'll tell you what that is. It should be approximately 42. So this should be 42 degrees. Well, let's look at an application. To approximate the length of a lake, a surveyor starts at one end of the lake and walks 245 yards. He then turns 110 degrees and walks 270 yards until he arrives at the other end of the lake. approximately how long is the lake? We'll have an illustration for you so you can see what this looks like. Okay? And what we're trying to find is how far is the lake. You can call that D if you like. That's the distance. That's what we're trying to figure out. And we can use the law of cosine because we know the two sides. This length here is 270 yards. This length is 245 yards, and we have an included angle of 70 degrees. So we can use the law of cosine. So I'm going to call that D. I'm going to put D squared equals, you're going to take 245. You're going to square that. It's kind of big numbers here, but and you're going to add that to the square of 270. Minus, and you're going to take twice the product of these two. Times the cosine of 70 degrees. And that's the setup. And when you do that, the distance, once you take the square root, it should approximately be 87,678 yards. Always make sure you include the units. This concludes our lesson for today.